My name is Christabel Sayer. I was 34, and I worked as a social media coordinator at a marketing agency. People said my life looked calm and stable. I had a husband who paid all the bills. I had 2 kids who were healthy. I had a house with a clean yard and a good school nearby. Still, I felt like I was stuck in a small box. That morning, Ethan stood in our kitchen with his laptop open. He always looked the same in the morning. Clean shirt, simple coffee, quiet eyes. He watched the news with low sound and checked numbers on a screen. He asked why the grocery cost was higher again. I said food was expensive now. He asked why I used a rideshare last week. I said my car felt weird and I did not want trouble. He asked why I had 2 separate charges from the same neighborhood cafe. I said I met a coworker there. He did not shout. That was part of the problem. His calm made me feel judged, even when he did not say anything sharp. I told him he was acting like an accountant, not a husband. I said I wanted a life, not a report. He asked what I meant by a life. I said he knew what I meant. I said he had stopped seeing me. I said he made everything about money. He looked at his screen again. I saw a file folder on the table with a label that said bank. It annoyed me more than it should. It felt like he was putting our marriage into neat boxes. I decided, in that moment, that I needed something that was mine. When Ethan left to drive the kids to school, I stayed in the kitchen. I stared at the counter and the quiet cups. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides like they were not a pair anymore. I told myself I was not a bad wife. I told myself I was a woman with needs. I told myself that people like Ethan did not understand. My phone buzzed. Adrian's name flashed, then disappeared because my screen was on preview mode. He asked if I was free later. I said I had a meeting and could do after. He said he missed me. I said he was sweet. Adrian was not my husband. He did not carry grocery bags. He did not pack lunches. He did not remind the kids about their shoes. That was the point. With Adrian, I was not mom or wife. I was a person again, or at least that was what I told myself. At work, the open-plan office smelled like burnt coffee and perfume. People moved fast and talked loud. My team liked drama, and I was good at feeding it. I knew how to get likes. I knew how to make a story look clean. In the break room, my friend Darla leaned close with her phone in her hand. She asked if Ethan was still acting weird. I said he was on my case again. She asked if he was still boring. I said he had always been boring, but now he was also controlling. She asked if I was still talking to that guy. I said it was not her business and smiled like it was a joke. Darla said I deserved fun. She said men like Ethan only respected women who took what they wanted. She said I should get my own space, even if it was small, even if it was just for work. She asked if I had any savings. I said Ethan handled most of the money. She rolled her eyes and said that was the first mistake. She said I needed a private place where no one asked questions. She said a studio was enough. She said the city was full of places like that. She said I could call it an office or a content space. She told me to stop feeling guilty and start acting smart. I liked the way she spoke. It made me feel like I was not cheating. It made me feel like I was building a new life. At lunch, I did not eat much. I searched listings on my phone. I told myself it was only an idea. I told myself I was planning for my career. I told myself Ethan would not understand, so I did not need to tell him yet. By late afternoon, I was in a rideshare going downtown. The driver asked if I was going to work or home. I said I had an appointment. My heart beat hard, like I was doing something brave. I kept my face calm, like I was a person who always made big choices. The building was small but clean. The lobby smelled like fresh paint. The property manager showed me a studio on the 3rd floor. It had 1 window and plain floors and a small kitchen corner. It looked like nothing special, but it felt like air. I walked through it slowly. I imagined quiet. I imagined no questions. I imagined being able to sit on a couch and not feel watched. I imagined Adrian's smile when he saw it. I told myself it was for my mind. I told myself it was for my work. I told myself it was not really a betrayal if Ethan had pushed me into it. The manager asked if I wanted to apply. I said yes. She asked for my ID. I gave it. She asked about income. I said I had a stable job. She asked about my current address. I gave my home address without blinking. She asked how soon I wanted to move in. I said immediately. When she talked about the deposit, I swallowed. I used a credit card Ethan paid off every month. I told myself it was fine because we were married. I told myself I had earned it by being ignored. I told myself Ethan spent money on his boring hobbies, so this was the same. The manager printed papers. The printer made a sharp, steady sound, and the smell of toner hit the air. My hands were a little sweaty. I signed my name anyway. I did not read every line. I did not want to see it too clearly. I wanted it to feel like a normal choice, not a crime. She gave me keys on a small ring. I put them in my bag fast. She asked if I wanted a second set. I said I could come back later. On the ride home, Adrian asked where I was. I said I was handling something. He asked if it was good news. I said it was a step. He asked if he could see me tonight. I said I had family stuff and maybe tomorrow. I felt powerful because I had 2 lives now, and no one could stop me. When I got home, the kids ran to me with loud voices. Mila asked if I could help with homework. I said I was tired, but I would try. Noah asked if I could play. I said after dinner. Ethan was at the sink washing a pan. He asked how my day was. I said it was busy. He asked if my meeting went well. I said yes. He asked why I looked tense. I said I was fine, and he was reading my face too much. He dried his hands and pointed at a calendar on the fridge. A reminder was circled for next week. It said meeting, personal. I did not know why it was there. I felt a small sting, like he had his own private space too. I asked what it was. He said it was nothing important, and he had to handle some paperwork. I laughed and said he loved paperwork more than people. He asked why I always turned things into a fight. I said I did not, and he was too sensitive. That night, after the kids went to bed, Ethan sat at the table again. His laptop was open. A plain spreadsheet glowed on the screen. No big titles, just rows and numbers. He did not hide it when I walked by. He did not act guilty. That made me feel guilty, so I turned it into anger. I asked why he was tracking things. He said he wanted clarity. I said he was treating me like a thief. He said he was not calling me anything. I said he was cold. He said he was tired. I went to the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. I took the keys out of my bag. I held them in my palm like a secret prize. I told myself I was choosing myself. I told myself Ethan would be fine, because he always was. I told myself the bills were his job, like always. Then I hid the keys deep inside my makeup bag and went to bed beside him, acting like nothing had changed. The next week, I wore a fitted black dress and a bright smile like armor. I told myself I was not hiding. I told myself I was finally living. I told Ethan I had a work networking night. He asked where it was, and I said downtown. He asked who was going, and I said mostly women from the agency. He asked what time I would be back, and I said not late. I knew I was lying about the work part, but I also believed he forced me into it by being so dull. I kept repeating that in my head, like it could clean the guilt off my hands. Darla picked me up and we drove to a rooftop bar near the center of the city. The elevator smelled like perfume and cold metal. The rooftop was full of people who looked like they had money and time. There were heat lamps, loud music, and phones held up like little mirrors. Darla hugged me and asked if I was ready to have fun. I said I was always ready. She asked if Ethan was still doing his money face. I said he could not handle a confident woman. She laughed and told me to post a story the moment we got drinks. I did. I filmed the skyline, the lights, the glasses on the table. I added a caption about finally breathing. I did not write Ethan's name. but I knew what it meant. I liked the small sting of it. Adrian texted me while I was ordering. He asked if I missed him. I said I was busy. He asked if I was with my husband. I said no. He asked if I was being careful. I said I always was. He sent a laughing emoji like it was a game. Darla leaned in and asked who I was messaging. I said it was a client. She nodded like she understood, and maybe she did. She told me to stop thinking and start enjoying. Then Ethan called. I stared at the screen. I had told him it was work. I did not expect him to call, and I hated that my first feeling was anger, not fear. I answered with my sweetest voice. He asked if I was okay. I said yes. He asked if he could come by with the kids for a short time because Mila wanted to see the city lights. I said that was a strange idea. He said they were already downtown for a school fundraiser pickup, and it would only be a quick look. He asked if it would be a problem. I said no, because I did not want to sound guilty. I told Darla he might show up, and she clapped her hands like I had offered entertainment. She said we would make it fun. She said men like Ethan needed to be reminded where they stood. I told her not to be dramatic, but I did not stop her. When Ethan arrived, he looked out of place. He wore a plain jacket and clean shoes. Mila held his hand, and Noah leaned on his leg. Ethan nodded at me and asked where he should stand so the kids were safe. I said near the railing, but not too close. My friends turned and looked him over like he was a product they did not want. Darla smiled too wide and asked if he always dressed like he was going to a meeting. Ethan said he came from helping at an event and did not plan a party outfit. Another friend asked if he let me go out alone often. Ethan said I was an adult and could go where I wanted. I felt my face warm. His calm answers made my friends look childish, and that bothered me. So I pushed harder. I asked Ethan why he had to bring the kids here. He said Mila asked, and he did not want to say no. I said he was trying to guilt me. He asked how showing the city to the kids was guilt. I said he always tried to make me look like a bad mom. He said he did not say anything about my parenting. Darla lifted her phone and started filming the table and the drinks and the view. She panned toward Ethan like he was part of the scenery. She asked if we should do a group photo. I said yes because I wanted it public. I wanted proof that I had a life without him. Ethan looked at the phones and asked if the kids could stay out of videos. I said he was overreacting. He asked again, calmer, and said he did not want their faces online. I said fine, but I rolled my eyes so my friends would see it. Mila asked if we could get hot chocolate. Ethan said yes, and he took her to the bar counter. Noah tugged Ethan's sleeve and asked to go to the bathroom. Ethan nodded and walked him inside. The moment he left the table, Darla leaned close and asked why he acted like a saint. I said he was fake. She asked if he acted the same at home. I said he acted cold and kept score. Another friend asked if he was controlling with money. I said he paid everything but made me feel like I owed him. I said it was like living with a judge. I watched my own mouth move. I could hear how unfair I sounded, but I liked how it made me feel powerful. If I painted him as the villain, then I could be the hero who escaped. When Ethan came back, he did not look angry. He looked tired. He asked how long I planned to stay. I said it depended. He said the kids needed sleep and asked if I could come home soon. I said he was not my boss. He nodded once, like he accepted the answer. He asked me quietly to step aside for a moment. I did, because I did not want a scene. He asked why I seemed distant lately. I said I was stressed from work. He asked if I wanted to talk about it with a counselor. I said he always tried to fix me like a problem. He said he was not trying to fix me, just trying to understand. I said he would not understand because he did not know how it felt to be ignored. He looked down at his phone, and I saw a missed call on his screen from a number with no name. He tapped it away fast. He noticed my eyes and asked if we could keep the talk private. I said he was hiding things too. He did not answer that. He simply asked if I was coming home, yes or no. I said I would come later. He took the kids' hands and said goodnight to me. He said goodnight to my friends too, polite and flat. Darla waved like a queen dismissing a servant. Ethan walked away without looking back. The second he left, my friends burst into laughter. Darla asked if I saw his face. I said he always looked like that. Another friend said I could do better. I said I already was doing better in my own way. I lifted my glass and said a toast was needed for my freedom. Darla asked if I meant freedom from marriage. I said I meant freedom from being managed. We took photos. We posed with the skyline behind us. I leaned into Darla and smiled hard. I posted one picture with a caption about choosing myself. I did not notice the small location sticker Darla added until later. When I finally went home, the driveway was dark. Ethan's car was parked straight, like always. I walked in and saw the kitchen clean, the counters wiped, the kids' backpacks lined up. The house felt like a quiet report card. Ethan stood by the sink with a dish towel in his hands. He asked if I had fun. I said yes. He asked if the networking helped. I said it did. He asked if I knew the bar posted public photos sometimes. I said I did not care. He nodded slowly. He asked if I could keep the kids out of that world. I said he was dramatic again. He asked if I was drinking a lot lately. I said he was trying to shame me. He said he was only asking because Mila woke up and asked if I liked my friends more than her. I felt a sharp pinch at that, but I turned it into defense. I said he should not put adult words in a child's mouth. He said he did not, and he looked at me like he was memorizing my face. That look made me uneasy. I went to our bedroom and checked my phone. A notification popped up. Someone had tagged me in a rooftop photo. The timestamp was clear. The location was clear too, and the neighborhood name matched the same area as the studio building. My stomach dropped, but my first thought was not remorse. My first thought was that Ethan would see it. The next day at work, I acted normal. I laughed in meetings. I typed captions like nothing mattered. But my mind kept jumping back to that tag and that location. I told myself it was not proof. I told myself people tagged places wrong all the time. I told myself Ethan would not even notice because he never looked at my posts like other husbands did. Still, when my phone buzzed, my chest tightened. Around noon, Ethan texted me. He asked if I planned to be home for dinner. I said yes. He asked if I could pick up milk on the way. I said sure. He did not mention the photo. That silence felt like a trap, even if it was not. After work, I took a rideshare downtown. I told myself I was just checking the studio again. I told myself I needed a quiet spot to plan content. I told myself the apartment was like a tool, not a betrayal. When I walked into the studio, it smelled like new paint and empty rooms. I set my bag down and stared at the bare wall. I could hear traffic through the window. It felt like a secret that hugged me. Adrian arrived 20 minutes later. He asked if I was nervous. I said I was fine. He asked if Ethan suspected anything. I said Ethan was too focused on bills to notice. Adrian said I sounded angry. I said I was not angry, just tired of being managed. He looked around and said the place was small but perfect. He asked if I paid for it. I said yes, and I did not explain that it was with a card Ethan always paid. Adrian asked if I planned to tell Ethan it was for work. I said Ethan did not need to know everything. Adrian smiled like that was the best answer. He asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted him to make me feel chosen. He said I already was chosen. I knew those words were easy for him, but I let them land anyway. I did not stay long. I told Adrian I had to pick up milk and get home. He asked if I would see him tomorrow. I said maybe. He asked why I could not stay longer. I said I had kids and I was not careless. He laughed and said I was more careful than most people. That sounded like praise, so I held on to it. At the supermarket, I grabbed milk, cereal, and some snacks for the kids. I also grabbed things I did not need at home, like extra coffee pods and a small pack of dish sponges. I told myself it was just convenience. I told myself I could leave them at the studio so I would not have to carry stuff. At the checkout, the total was higher than I expected. I used the joint card without thinking. The machine beeped, and a message popped up on my phone right away. It was a spending alert from the bank app. I stared at it for a second too long, like it was a warning sign. When I got home, the house felt too quiet. The kids were in the living room watching a cartoon. Ethan was at the table with his laptop open. The screen showed a spreadsheet again, just rows and numbers. Beside him was a folder labeled Utilities. A sticky note sat on top that said, "Bring forms." It was small and plain, like it did not matter. But it made my stomach twist. Ethan looked up and asked if I found the milk. I said yes. He asked if I had a long day. I said it was normal. He asked why I went downtown after work. I froze. Then I said I had a client stop. He nodded once and did not argue. He tapped his phone, and I heard a soft beep like a recording app starting and stopping. It was so quick I almost thought I imagined it. He asked if we could talk after the kids went to bed. I said we could talk now. He said he did not want to upset the kids. His voice was steady, like he was talking about weather. At bedtime, Mila asked me why I was gone so much. She asked if I liked the city more than home. I said she was being silly. She said Ethan told her I was busy, but she did not like busy. I told her I worked hard for the family. She asked if families needed moms at dinner. I said yes, of course, and I kissed her forehead and left the room fast. In the kitchen, Ethan poured water into 2 separate glasses and set them far apart. He asked if I noticed the bank alerts lately. I said the app was annoying. He asked if I recognized a pattern of charges in the same downtown area. I said lots of places were downtown. He asked why there were repeated rideshare trips to the same block. I said my meetings happened there. He did not accuse me of cheating. He did not raise his voice. He just asked questions like he was collecting puzzle pieces. That calm made me furious. I told him he was acting like a detective. I said he was trying to catch me doing something wrong because he wanted to feel powerful. He asked why I thought he wanted power. I said because he paid bills and loved to remind me. He said he did not remind me, and he pointed to the spreadsheet. He said it was not about control. It was about clarity. He said he needed to understand where money was going because the family budget was tight with 2 kids. I laughed and said he always claimed it was tight, even when he bought himself gadgets and paid for his gym membership. He asked what gadgets. I said I did not know, but I said it anyway. He asked if I wanted to review expenses together. I said no. I said he was not my manager. I said if he wanted a perfect wife, he should have married a robot. He rubbed his forehead and asked if I was unhappy with him. I said he was twisting things. I said I was unhappy with being treated like a child. He asked if I felt trapped. I said yes, and I watched his face to see if it hurt him. It did, just a little. That gave me a sick kind of relief. He went quiet. Then he asked a simple question. He asked if there was anything I wanted to tell him before he made changes to protect the household. I asked what changes. He said he meant practical changes, like separating some spending and setting clearer routines for the kids. I said he was threatening me. He said he was not threatening, and he repeated that he was thinking of the kids first. I told him he was using the kids to guilt me. He said he was using the kids to guide decisions. His words sounded too careful, like he had practiced them. That night, after he went upstairs, I opened my phone and checked my bank app. I scrolled through charges and dates. The studio rent sat there like a bruise. My ride shares, my duplicate purchases, my small lies with numbers attached. I told myself it still was not proof of an affair. I told myself I could explain it all if I needed to. I told myself Ethan would never go far because he needed me, and because people would blame him if our marriage fell apart. But when I looked at the kitchen table again, the folder labeled bank was no longer there. It was gone, like it had been moved to a place I could not reach. The weekend after the bank talk, I planned a family dinner on purpose. I told myself it was a smart move. If everyone saw us at a long table, smiling, then no one could say our marriage was breaking. People believe what they can post. I picked a family restaurant that looked warm and safe. It had big booths, soft lights, and loud plates. I invited my mother, my stepfather, my sister Danny, and Ethan's parents. I told Ethan it was for the kids. He asked if it was really for the kids, and I said yes. He came anyway. He always came when it involved the children. At the table, Ethan sat beside Noah and cut his food into small pieces. Mila leaned toward him and whispered something. He nodded and wiped a bit of sauce off her chin. He looked like a good father, and it made me feel cornered. My mother Marina arrived first and kissed my cheek. She asked if I was okay. I said I was fine, just dealing with pressure. She asked if Ethan was being difficult. I said he had become obsessed with money and tracking me. Marina frowned and said men loved control. My stepfather Caleb said little, but his eyes stayed on me longer than I liked. Danny came next. She asked if this dinner was a good idea. I said it was perfect. She asked if Ethan knew what we were doing. I said we were just eating. She looked unsure but sat down. When Ethan's parents arrived, Janice hugged the kids tight. Paul shook Ethan's hand and asked how work was going. Ethan said it was steady. Janice asked me how I was sleeping. I said I was not sleeping well because I felt stressed and judged. Janice did not answer right away. She just looked at Ethan. I decided to take control before anyone else did. While menus were still open, I started telling a story about how hard it was to live under questions. I said Ethan asked where I went, what I bought, who I saw. I said it felt like I needed permission to breathe. I did not say I was cheating. I did not say I had a studio apartment. I just painted a shape of a villain and let everyone color it in. Ethan asked what questions I meant. I said he knew. He said he asked about money because bills were real. I said he used bills as a leash. He asked if we could talk privately later. I said we were family, and family should be honest. Darla had taught me this trick. If I forced the talk into public, Ethan could not look strong without looking cold. Janice asked what was happening at home. I said Ethan had become distant and strict. Paul asked Ethan if that was true. Ethan said he had been calm and focused on routines for the kids. I laughed a little and said calm could be a mask. I said people could be polite and still be cruel. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he did not raise his voice. He asked why I wanted to shame him in front of everyone. I said I was not shaming him. I was explaining my feelings. He said feelings were real, but facts were also real. I said he always ran to facts like a coward runs to rules. Mila looked up at me and asked why I was mad at Dad. I said I was not mad. Ethan told her she did not need to worry. He asked her if she wanted to color. She nodded and pulled out a small pencil case. He carried the moment away from the fight, like he was moving a glass away from an edge. That made me angrier, because it made him look mature. When the food arrived, I kept pushing. I joked that Ethan treated our marriage like a spreadsheet. I said he probably had categories for wife cost and kid cost. Some people laughed softly, like it was harmless. I watched Ethan's mother's face. She did not laugh. She looked tired. Ethan asked me to stop. I said he was too sensitive. He asked why I enjoyed making him small. I said I was just being honest and he could not handle it. Janice asked me if I was coming home for dinner most nights. I said I was busy with work. She asked if my work needed me downtown so often. I said it did. Danny's eyes flicked toward me, quick and sharp, like she knew the answer was too smooth. Paul said we should focus on the kids and eat. Ethan nodded and started talking to Noah about school. I could have stopped then, but I felt like if I stopped, I would lose. So I leaned into it. I said, Ethan acted like a saint in public, but at home he was cold. Ethan asked what I meant by cold. I said he stopped being affectionate and stopped asking about my dreams. He said he asked about my day every day. I said he only asked to check me, not to love me. Ethan put his fork down. He asked the waiter for boxes and said we were leaving early because the kids looked tired. I said he was being dramatic to punish me. He said he was not punishing me, and he stood up and helped Noah with his coat. Janice stood too, fast, and said the kids needed sleep. Paul followed, quiet. My mother stared at Ethan's back and said he was showing his true face. Caleb said we all should calm down. Danny looked at me and asked why I kept poking him. I said because someone had to say the truth. She said it did not sound like truth. It sounded like a performance. When we got home, Ethan did not talk. He took the kids upstairs. I heard a soft click from the hallway closet, like a drawer locking. Later, I heard a low hum, like a shredder running, just for a few seconds. I told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself he was trying to scare me. On Monday, I went to work early to get ahead of the day. I posted a cheerful photo from my desk with a caption about "New week, new energy." I wanted people to see me as strong. Around mid-morning, Cara from HR walked by my desk and asked if I had 5 minutes. I smiled and said sure, like it was nothing. She led me to a quiet hallway near a small meeting room. Her voice stayed polite, but her eyes were careful. She asked if everything was okay at home. I said yes. She said someone had brought a concern about my online posts and how they might connect to co-workers and clients. I asked who complained. She said she could not share names. I said it was unfair. She said she was not accusing me of anything, but she needed to protect the workplace. She asked about a networking night I listed on a timesheet. I said it was real. She asked why a photo tag showed a different kind of event. I said people tagged things wrong. She asked if there was any relationship issue that could spill into the office. I said my husband was controlling and might try to embarrass me. The moment I said that, I felt powerful again. If I made Ethan the threat, then I was the victim. Cara wrote a few notes. She asked if I could keep personal drama off public pages for a while. I said I would try. She asked if I needed support resources. I said I did not need help. I needed people to mind their business. When I walked back to my desk, my phone showed a missed call from a number with no caller ID. My stomach tightened. I did not answer. I told myself it was spam. But deep down, I felt the same thing I had felt in the restaurant when Ethan stood up with the kids. Not fear of him. Fear of what he might already know. I tried to fix the feeling in my stomach by making noise. If I could make Ethan angry, then I could call him the problem again. Calm men are hard to fight because they do not give you a scene. On Tuesday night, I came home late on purpose. I parked in the garage and walked slowly like I was daring him to ask. The house was quiet. The kids were already in bed. The hallway light was on, low and soft. Ethan was in the kitchen. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides of the counter again. He asked if I ate. I said yes, at work. He asked if the ride was okay. I said fine. He did not ask where I was. That silence felt like he was holding something back. I opened the fridge too hard. I asked why he was acting like a stranger. He asked what I meant. I said he stopped checking on me because he wanted me to feel guilty. He said he was not trying to make me feel anything. He said he was focusing on the children and on the home. That sentence sounded rehearsed, like he had practiced saying it without emotion. I walked past him and looked at the table. His laptop was there again. The screen showed another spreadsheet, but the tab name was blank. Next to it was a clean folder stack with labels like household and utilities. I wanted to grab them and throw them, but I did not. I told myself I was above that. I told myself he was the one being dramatic with his neat little piles. I asked why he was organizing things like a clerk. He said he wanted order. I said order was not love. He asked what I wanted from him. I said I wanted him to stop policing me. He said he was not policing me. He said he was learning to step back. That made my blood feel hot. Stepping back was not what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to chase me, beg me, prove he wanted me. If he did not chase, then I had nothing to push against. The next morning, Mila asked me if I could do school drop-off. I said yes, and I meant it for once. But Ethan had already packed the bags and set shoes by the door. He said he could do it and I could rest. I said I was not sick. He said he knew, but he had the schedule set. He showed me a simple list on the fridge. It had pickup times, snack days, and school contact numbers. No drama, just a plan. I asked if he thought I could not handle it. He said he thought the kids needed routine. I said I gave them routine too. He said lately it did not feel steady. I told him he was judging me again. He said he was observing, not judging. That word, observing, made me feel small. At work, I tried to act bright. I posted a cheerful story at my desk. Darla messaged me and asked if Ethan was still being weird. I said he was being cold on purpose. She said cold men needed heat. She told me to make him jealous. She told me to show him I had options. So I did. That night, I posted a selfie in my car before I came home. I wrote a line about late grind and added a small music clip. It was not true. I had been at the studio for an hour, alone, just sitting and scrolling, enjoying the quiet and the lie of it. I liked the idea that I had a door Ethan did not have a key to. When I got home, Ethan was folding laundry in the living room. Noah's little socks were in neat pairs. Ethan asked if I could sign a school form tomorrow. I said yes. He asked if I could be there on time for pickup. I said of course. He said he hoped so, because Mila had been asking. I hated that he could say those things without blame, like a person reading a weather report. I tried a different angle. I asked if he was talking to someone about me. He asked what I meant. I said he was acting like he had a team. He said he did not have a team, he had responsibilities. I said responsibilities were his excuse to avoid feelings. He said feelings were not a plan. I laughed and said he sounded like a robot again. He asked why I enjoyed calling him names. I said I did not call him names, I described him. He said description could still be disrespect. He kept his voice low. He did not take the bait. It felt like punching air. Later, when he went to brush his teeth, I walked past the hallway closet. I heard a soft click again, like a drawer locking. I opened the closet door and saw nothing strange, just coats and shoes. But I noticed one thing that was new, a small key on his keyring that I did not recognize, hanging by the door. I did not ask about it. I did not want an answer I could not control. On Thursday, I tried to corner him in public. I met him in the parking garage after work because he was picking up the kids from after-school care. The garage smelled like exhaust and wet concrete. I stood in front of his car door and said we needed to talk right now. He asked if it could wait until the kids were not there. I said no, because I was tired of his silence. He said he would not argue in front of them. I said he was hiding behind them again. He said he was protecting them. I said that was just a nice way to say he wanted to punish me quietly. He looked at me for a long second. He asked if I was trying to start a scene. I said I wanted honesty. He said honesty worked both ways. I said he did not deserve my honesty because he had not earned it. He said he did not think love was something you earned with points. Mila opened the back door and asked why we were standing so long. Ethan told her we were just talking, and it was okay. His voice stayed soft. My face felt hot because I looked like the unstable one. That night, I found him in the kitchen again, wiping the counter like he could wipe away the last months. I asked him if he still loved me. He asked what love meant to me right now. I said, love meant not giving up. He said not giving up also meant not lying and not hurting people. I told him he was acting superior. He said he was not superior, he was done chasing. He said he would not beg for basic respect. I tried to flip it. I said he was abandoning me. He said he was choosing peace. I said peace was just a word for leaving. He said it was a word for doing things the right way. Then he looked me in the eyes, calm and steady, and he said he would handle it properly. In the office tower lobby, a process server handed me a thick envelope. Ethan stood behind him, silent. I opened it and saw the divorce filing and temporary orders. His paycheck protected, the joint card frozen, the house use set, and a parenting schedule starting today. My knees went weak. Ethan said he had done it properly and already walked away.